All right, Queens, welcome to another episode. I have a special guest with me today. Her name is Jessica. I'm just going to read her bio for you guys. Jessica is also known as foodcoachjess on Instagram. She's 26 years old and currently lives in Toronto, Canada. She's a registered holistic nutritionist and would describe herself mainly as a food freedom coach. Can you see why she's on this podcast? There was a time in Jessica's life where restricting and binging controlled her. Now that she's on the other side, she wants to help women do the same. Jessica says, unfortunately, with social media currently being bigger than it ever has been, there are so many young girls and women who need to restrict and engage in other disordered eating patterns to look a certain way. Jessica is here to guide these women to heal their relationship with food so they can truly feel fulfilled and safe in their body. Okay, so without further ado, Jessica, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It's great to have you on. I'm going to start with just 10 random questions I'm going to fire at you.
Okay, perfect.
They're really fun. They're not really any value, but they're really fun. So are you ready?
Okay. I love fun questions. Let's do it.
Okay. Sweet or savory?
Ooh. I would say maybe more savory.
Okay.
Savory.
I'm definitely sweet. Early bird or night owl?
You know, I'm becoming more of an early bird. I used to be a night owl, like almost too much of a night owl, but now I'm an early bird.
The early bird catches the worm, you know.
There you go. This morning I caught the worm.
Hell yeah. Favorite season of the year, if you have one?
I would say summer. I just love the sun, like being outside, not having to like wear multiple layers. Yeah, I love the warmth.
Because you're in Canada now. What's the weather like over there?
It's kind of chilly. Today is actually getting up to 10 degrees, which is odd for winter, but yeah, it was snowing a little bit earlier, so.
Oh, I do love the snow.
I love it at times. I love it at times, but you know, just not too much.
You're a sun girl instead.
Yes.
And what word do you use the most if you're aware of it?
Ooh. Which I'm trying to not, use it too much as a filler word. I feel like those words that I shouldn't be using too much.
You should be using whatever. I always use the word so, and I hear myself back, and I'm like, why do I keep saying so? Blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm. It's like a way for you to continue thinking while giving yourself a little break at the same time. Yeah,
exactly. We all have it, and it's really cute. So when I wrote that question down to ask you, I was like, my word is totally so.
So yeah.
Love it. Okay, what's your biggest fear?
Oh my gosh. I was just thinking about this yesterday, but I feel like it's family, like not having them around for a long time. It's like them growing because I still have both my parents and like I have my siblings as well. So, and my parents just moved a few cities away. So I think it's more like the distance, like not having to spend enough time with them. So I don't know what the exact fear is, but something to do with family, just making sure we're always together.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. What's my next question? Oh yeah, what are you most proud of?
I feel like we're going to talk about it today, but kind of like my whole, disordered eating story and coming on the other side and at a point thinking like that's going to be my whole entire life, but things change. Thank God.
I can't wait to dive in.
Yes.
I already know the answer to this one, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Me too.
Love dogs. I love them. Cats are okay.
Yeah, I'm not anti anything. Anything animal, then I'm all good. Babies or animals? Definitely animals for me. What about for you?
Babies or animals? I would say animals.
That wasn't a question. That was just a random one that came.
Yeah.
Okay, there's 3 more. Your favorite food?
Oh. See, I'm a vegan, but I'm also not picky. So if anything is made vegan, I'll like it. I don't know if I have a specific favorite. Like I'm really open. As long as it's vegan, I'm eating it. I like food, so.
Oreos are vegan, right? I think.
Oreos are vegan, yeah.
I remember I tried to go vegan once, and again, I'm
Mhm.
sure we'll get into all of this in a moment. And
Yeah.
I was like, yes,
Yeah.
Oreos are vegan.
I know, when I found out, I was like, really? And I'm like, wow. It's a big surprise. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
Every day's a school day, guys.
There you go. Every single day.
Okay, two more. A book that you recommend for these queens listening to read.
Ooh, I'm looking at my. I don't know which one I should start off. Sorry.
No, that's no problem. This is a difficult question because I'm obsessed with books. I'm like a bookworm. So,
like right now, I'm reading Think and Grow Rich, which is really good, but I don't think it's for everyone. Like I'm towards the end, and it's taking me a while. But Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. I didn't. It's really good. I didn't read it. I listened to it, and I got the physical book as well. Because I'm like, I really want to like dive more into it. But yes, it's really good if you have like certain habits that you want to change about yourself. He just goes into like the depth of how you can actually start doing that long-term success. And yes, I feel like everyone should read that book.
Oh wow! So can you just say it again for me as well, and for the people back?
No problem. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza.
That's going to be on my wish list in my Audible app. Thank you.
No problem.
And I've read Think and Grow Rich, and I think it's a very masculine book.
Yes.
It's amazing, but it was to me, it speaks to men or the masculine energy more than the women. And also, as soon as it's International Women's Day when we're recording this, and this is nothing against men, I just feel that every example that's used in the book is all like men.
Yeah.
Like, what about the willpower? So
no, it's true. The people, like everyone who I talk to, because this is like my 5th time picking up that book. Like I never was able to get through it, and now I'm like the farthest I've been. I'm like 20 pages away, and everyone was like, "Yeah, like it's definitely a man-focused book," and it took me 3, 4, 5 times to actually go through it. So it's a different type of book. I guess like it's a book that you decided to read because it's like a famous, very notable book. But yeah, it's okay.
good job for you for like pushing through.
Yes.
Almost finishing it. I'm if I start a book, even if I'm like, nah, I'm like, well, I've got to finish it because I've started.
That's a good habit though.
It is. Yes. Even if you learn like one thing from the whole book, that's something extra.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, last question. What are you most excited about in your life right now, Jessica?
Excited? I kind of want to say the future, even though we were talking about staying in the present not too long ago. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like this year is going to different energy than last year. Last year there was too much things happening in the world, but I feel like this year everyone has I think it's a collective thing. Everyone has a little bit more hope, so it makes you feel a little bit more better. And yeah, I just feel like things are slowly, I don't want to say getting back to normal, but slowly getting better day by day. Like we see there's a tunnel at the end. We see the light at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, just for the future, for everyone in general.
I love that. And I can feel and I know you're very intuitive too, that the energy of the world, the people around us, like I could feel the low energy, and it's up for the workers to like keep the energy high and high, but sometimes it can be quite difficult. So I'm glad that it's slowly shifting.
Yes, slowly but surely we'll get there.
We absolutely will. Yes. Okay, so I would love for you to dive into your story, and then I'm going to chip in along the way. So why and how are you a coach right now? What led you to this place?
Okay, so I'm going to start from, I guess high school would be a good, in my younger years, I feel like with my eating and everything, it was kind of normal. Like for the most part, I just ate, whatever your parents would cook. And then I got into high school, and around, I don't know what you guys call it. Is it year 10, year 11?
That's what, I'm English, but I live in the Netherlands, but that's what we call it, like year 10, year 11, at the end of secondary school. If that's
right. So that's what it's called here, like grade 10, grade 11. So around there, I decided to become a vegetarian because I just wasn't like feeling as healthy as I could, that I knew I could feel. And especially at 16 years old, I'm like, like I don't feel good. Something needs to change. I'm like, this isn't normal. And I guess when you go into high school, you have a little bit more freedom. So, you can go to McDonald's and order whatever without your parents actually not being there. And yeah, I think I was just induced having more foods I wasn't normally having, but an excess of them. So I was searching online. I'm like, you know what? I don't remember exactly what I searched, but I think I was like, how to become healthy at 16, or I don't know, something like something
That's
like
so
that.
cute.
I know. I'm just like, maybe something online will help me. And then I saw a vegetarian. I was researching for a couple days. I saw a vegetarian. I was like, you know what? I'll just try it. So I went through that. Like I became vegetarian. I was like, I'm feeling good. But that lasted like 5 years. I'll go into like the vegan part after, but that lasted about 5 years. But there were a lot of like ups and downs. So there's a lot. That's when I started going to the gym as well. And then I don't know if you know of this thing on it used to be on Tumblr called Thinspo. So it's basically like now we have this Fitspo, which is like fitness inspiration. But back then there was like this Thinspo, which was like people being very thin, that inspiration. And I kind of delved into that, and that was like consuming me. So I was really like, I wanted to look like, I can't even explain it, just like model thin, but even thinner. And I'm like, okay. So there was a lot of restricting going on there. It was a lot of restricting, going to the gym, being young. I remember at one point, like I was losing a lot of weight in school, and my guidance counselors were like talking to me, like, is anything wrong? But obviously at that, when you're like 16-ish, 15, 16, you're not going to tell your guidance counselor everything. So I was like, no, everything's fine. And at one point, my parents like had to trick me, and I actually went to my doctors. They're like, "Oh, your doctor wants to do a yearly checkup," but it was really because like my guidance counselor told my parents to take me to the doctor to see if something is wrong. I lost my period for, I don't know, I was losing it like a lot, like a few, maybe 3-4 months, and it would come, and then it was just, everything was slowly going downhill. But like I had this image in my head. I'm like, this is what I have to do. Little side note, because as I was saying earlier, my parents just moved. So I was going into my old bedroom, just cleaning things out. And I found this like journal, and I was looking at like, I had like a food diary, and it was so bad. I haven't even talked about this yet, but it was like two apples in the, no, two, I was vegetarian, 2 eggs in the morning, an apple for lunch, and like rice, and like, I don't know, some type of vegetable probably that I was at home having. I'm like, this was what I had like on a daily basis. Like it was really bad. So
Wow.
after that, yeah.
What a beautiful realization like that you've recently found that, so then you can actually just be with yourself and be like, oh my gosh, I've come so far.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to take a picture of it and then actually like, talk about it and stuff, but I literally just threw it away. I was like, oh no, like I like looked at it, obviously acknowledged it, but I'm like, you know what? No, this is the past. I'm like, wow, it's crazy. So the Thinspo stuff that happened for like maybe 2-3 years. And then I don't know, I just slowly started getting out of it. And I was like, you know what, I feel good as vegetarian, but I started learning more things about like the animals and like the environment. And like, maybe I'll like try something else, because I'm always like trying new things. That's the thing about me. Like, I just like maybe adventure, or just, trying new things. So I learned more about veganism, and then I was like, maybe I'll try going vegan. So I tried doing that. I did it. It was like March or February. I don't know exactly what year. Like 5 years after being vegetarian, and I tried it first. It only lasted a week because I was at my friend's like birthday at this restaurant, and there's this specific cake that that isn't vegan. I'm like, I want it, so I just got it, and then I kind of just told myself, I'm like, okay, like it's fine if I want to stay vegetarian, but like I don't want to keep going back and forth, from being vegan to vegetarian. It's like, you know what, I'll just go all in. So then I became vegan. Still vegan now, and I feel like that kind of helped me more because I was searching online and I saw like people who looked healthier than the Thinspo that I was looking at. I'm like, oh, you can actually like look good, they all feel good, have energy, and you can still, be vegan. Like you don't have to like be super thin to feel good about yourself. And then that kind of slowly changed things. And yeah, I feel like that whole process now, I'm like, know more about food, how it feels, not how it feels to your body, like what the impact it can have on your body. And yeah, like actually having meals, not having to restrict because you want to look a certain way or feel a certain way. and yeah, just eating to actually feel good, and like movement as well, especially not like I used to go to the gym go to the gym at school. I'd have a gym class, and then in the afternoon I'd go to the gym in the evening again. So it's like my whole life was revolved around the gym. I'm like, it's too much. And now I just work out like once a day. Sometimes I'll take a walk as well, but I just love being in nature now. So yeah, it's a complete 180. Yeah, and then yeah, that's it's like, yeah, those are like the main parts basically. Like,
I've got loads of questions around that. The first question is, well, it's more of a statement, and from looking at your website, I got this from you as well. I love the fact that you talk about feeling good in your body a lot.
Yeah.
Because what I scare my clients away with at the beginning, and I've slowly progressed to that, everyone wants to feel good and feel healthy. This anti-diet culture, and I was brainwashed by the opposite of anti-diet culture, was to eat whatever you want when you want, which is true for me still. But then when we're eating just because we can, we don't feel good anymore.
Yeah.
So I do believe there's like a few steps you have to go through, like, the legalization stage where you're allowing everything. And then sometimes we can go a bit crazy, and then because we're now allowed it, we eat a lot of it. I don't know about you, but I say that's all okay, because it won't last forever. But if health is a value of yours and you want to feel good, then it's about, okay, so having these things, is that going to make me feel physically good, or am I going to feel a bit tired or sluggish or bloated? And then just making a choice around that.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's the thing with like listening to your body and eating, right? Because I actually went through that phase a little bit too in the beginning of my vegan days. I'm like, oh, they can have everything and anything and like still feel good. But it's like I was having, dates, like medjool dates. I was having like 15 at a time. And I'm like, oh, like I like them, but they're not making me feel amazing. Just because someone else is doing that, it's like doesn't mean that that has to work for you too. So it's, as you said, very important to like listen to your body, making sure you're actually feeling good and not just having something because you can have it. Like if you want it, you can have it, but make sure that it actually makes you feel good instead of just, having it to have it.
Oh, I love that. And I've got a question around that. And I get asked this question a lot, and I'm interested in your take on it. How would you, if someone was a client of yours and they were practicing like listening to their body and eating what they felt like, how do you distinguish between what your mind wants and what your body wants? Or is that even a thing?
I think it is a thing, but it's also like what else is going on in your life, because if you're stressed, your mind may want one thing, your body may want the other, but it's like, it's kind of hard, but I feel like you have to work through it. Like what truly makes you feel good? Like if your mind wants like, I don't know, your mind wants a salad, but your body wants, I don't know, ice cream. And am I saying it the right way? Your mind wants a salad, but your body wants ice cream. But it's also like, okay, what's going to actually make you feel good? Or is it just something you're having for a short-term pleasure? Or is it going to give you like long-term pleasure? But if you want a little bit of both, like that's okay too. It's like, it's very hard, especially with these anti-diet cultures and vice versa, just making sure that you don't go too deep into one of them. Because as you said, like you can have too much of one thing and not feel good, but you can have very little of something else and not feel good. So it's like, it's a very like intuitive thing, and making sure that you're actually just eating to feel good at the end of the day, and not like having guilt after having certain food.
Oh yeah, that's huge, isn't it? And I kind of say a similar thing to what you've just said, and I like to like swap the mind and body just to simply intuition eating.
Yeah.
What feels good in this moment? So don't like separate mind, don't separate body. Just be like, because everything it inside of you, all the answers to everything, right?
Yeah.
So just get quiet enough and be like, okay, do I really like? Does that feel good to eat?
Yeah.
Sometimes the ice cream will feel good.
Yeah.
On all levels. And sometimes it will be like, no, because actually I kind of know I'm eating the ice cream because I actually feel a bit stressed and I'm just looking for something to, like, take away that edge. And it's just getting curious with what yourself actually really wants.
I think that, yeah, it's very important, because also like in my heavy gym days, I used to be like, okay, I'm going to have this ice cream, but I'm also going to like lose 300 calories on the treadmill after to make up for it. So it's very like staying in that moment. If you're gonna have it, like have it for the moment, and you don't have to make up for it. You don't have to like beat yourself up for it afterwards. You don't have to punish yourself in the gym afterwards. You know, if you're gonna have it, truly enjoy it, because it also does something with actually enjoying the food and the stress on your body, rather than like feeling guilty while you're eating, or being more stressed while you're eating, and just it doesn't work after. You know, you just don't feel good as what you could have felt if you just allowed yourself to have it and enjoying it.
Yeah, I read somewhere, I think I reposted this quote, like the stress, anxiety and guilt around eating the chocolate cake is a lot more harmful for you than the actual goddamn chocolate cake. It was obviously shorter and it made more sense.
Yeah. It's true though. Yeah, it's true.
What tips would you give someone who is new to our work and they're like, okay, I really want to stop dieting, but I don't know how, because they're so used to like following a plan. And then they're listening to their body or practicing, because I believe it's a practice. You never just get it straight away. It's a relationship with yourself. How would you help them to overcome the, oh my God, this is so bad, I shouldn't be eating this, the mindset stuff, which I agree with you is so powerful?
I think it's something that's like, you know, it's not something that happens overnight. So just know like it's going to be a process, but it's like one step at a day, a little step at a time, just because it's not like the next day you're going to be like, okay, everything's going to be perfect, everything's going to be okay. Just take it like one step at a time. Just know that like when you're listening to your body, you're doing more good than feeling guilty about having a certain food. It's like you will overcome it, just like, as you know, we both did. I heard your story as well on Saturday. But yeah, I was there. But everything is going to happen slowly but surely. It's just like listening to your body, taking care of yourself, and knowing that like the mindset comes throughout everything. You know, it's just not an overnight process. And yeah, knowing that like the goal that you have for yourself, or where you want to be with like your food freedom, it will happen. So yeah, just doing one step at a time. I feel like that's the best way. Like going slowly, it doesn't have to be, you know, a big overnight thing.
That's it. And it's like unlearning, isn't it? Everything that I thought, like, I can kind of laugh at diet culture now, because it's so funny. In fact, there's a reel that my virtual assistant's creating, a reel that I did this morning, and it's like, how to be healthy. Eat 5 meals a day. Okay. Eat fruit. Okay. Oh no, don't eat fruit because it's sugar. It's bad for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Eat vegan. Okay. Oh no, you're not allowed hot. And it's like, what?
Yeah. It's true.
Your body and yourself are the best nutritionists there is, right?
Yeah. It's like you can't follow all these rules. There's way too many rules. And I feel like if you have a certain rule, like as you said, eating at 5 meals a day, but then it's like, okay, eat between this time and this time. But it's like when you wake up, make sure you're not eating. It's just like there's rules, under rules, or sub rules. It's just too much. And as we know, like having food freedom and actually listening to yourself, that's the best rule, I would say.
Absolutely.
Because,
the way we talk to ourselves as well.
Yes, exactly. Like giving yourself self-love, telling yourself like, it's okay to have this, like I'm safe, I will be okay, you know, because the rules they overtake you, they become too much.
Yeah. I would love to share something that my coach shared with me, and this got me from huge anxiety around giving up dieting to eating all the things to panicking and then wanting to diet again. I just used to simply say to myself, okay, I surrender, I accept, and I choose freedom. Like I am safe to eat whatever it is I want to eat. I am safe, I surrender, I choose freedom. And then if you just keep that on repeat all the time, like you said, step by step, kind of like, oh my gosh, I've just had like a chocolate cake and I'm all good.
Yes, exactly. And then you look back and you think in the old days when it would have been like, you would have done something completely different. So people, you know, they have a breakdown after having something, and it's just like, oh wow, I made it so far. Like the positive self-talk, it really reinforces like what you're saying and your thoughts. It becomes your reality, you know?
Oh yeah, thoughts become reality, 100%.
Yes.
When I first heard that, I was like, no, that's stupid.
Yeah. I said the same thing too. I was like, no way.
And of course, my mind was then closed, and I was like, well, that's stupid. Then I got into personal development, and I was like, Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So you thought, just for the all the queens listening, just to, they hear me talk about this all the time, but I'm just going to relay it again. So
Yes,
when we
yes.
think something, it creates a feeling. And then when we feel something, we either do something or don't do something, which is our action or disaction, unaction, whatever word I'm looking for.
You're right. It's both, depending on which way you're going. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah.
Then that creates your reality, right? So
Yeah.
honestly, the way you think and the way you talk to yourself creates whatever you see around you. Like, it's crazy.
Yes. Yeah. And it's like when you actually understand that, you're like, oh wow, like this is true. Like there's so many things I know now that in the past I was like, no, that's not real. That's not true. But like once you start learning about it, you're like, oh, it is true.
Yeah. And it's about taking full responsibility, isn't it? For like,
yeah.
which is, I kind of am getting the theme for this call is taking full responsibility for your choices. Like, I love the fact you say, you know, if you want something, have it and own that choice. Like, enjoy it. Don't choose to have it and then feel bad about having it.
Yeah, it's
Own
true.
it and enjoy
It's
it.
true. It's true. Because it's even worse than like if you truly want something and then you restrict yourself and then you're just thinking about it and like food is consuming your mind, but it's like you could be thinking of so many other things, or like if you're at work and you need to be focusing on something where you're like, I should have had this, you know? So it can really destroy you, but you can also let it like empower you in a way.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I would love to ask you about how you healed your relationship with exercise, because it sounds like you're a big gym bunny, like I am and was, and we have, I think we share that a similar story with that. How did you kind of make that into a healthy relationship with exercise?
I think it was also, so after high school, after I didn't have the gym class, like the mandatory gym class in school, and while I was going to my own gym, I was like, I don't know, like it just didn't feel right anymore inside me. So then I was going, you know, the twice. So after the gym class, I was going twice by myself, still like morning and night. And I was like, you know what? No, I just started slowly dialing back. But I was like, you know what? I'm feeling better as I'm dialing back. It's like, how was this happening? I thought I had to like be going more and more for longer amounts of time. And then, yeah, then I just started going once and I started doing things that I actually like, got into lifting a little bit instead of like always doing, you know, the cardio. You're like, yeah, the cardio phase. I was like, oh, I like lifting a little bit. And just my old gym had a hot yoga. So I started doing that a lot. And I was like, oh, wow, I love yoga. So now I'm like, I'm really into yoga as well. So I figured out too, it doesn't always need to be something like so tough and so hard all the time. So just starting doing things I actually enjoy. And then, yeah, just like listening to my body. I also got a trainer at a couple points, which is really good too, because it's like, then I can be like focused on them. They're the professional, they know what they're doing. And yeah, then I don't have to like continue doing other things too on the side. So it was just like listening to my body, and especially with my trainers and stuff, I'm very close friends with them. So it was just like a fun, I made it more fun basically, and something I enjoy doing.
I think that's so important. When
Yes.
I noticed when you said you started doing things you actually liked,
Yes.
it's huge, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
like forcing ourselves to go like, oh, I've got to go to the gym. Like, yes, there is positive self-discipline in there, of course, but then if you really don't like what you're doing, then don't do it. Do something different to move your body. There's like hundreds of things you can do.
Yeah, I know. It's like I'd be the person on the treadmill, like someone would come in after me and they would leave and I'm still on there. They give me the look. I'm just like, what? I'm just doing what I want to do. And like I could have saved so much time in the past, so much time. But you know, it's like a learning process. Now I know, and now I can teach others the same thing, you know. So I feel like a lot of things that we go through, we learn it to teach others like not to do it.
Oh, 100%. The stuff I used to do, like after I was anorexic, I used to like binge eat and then purge by exercise and taking laxatives. And like, sorry if this is triggering for anybody, so turn off now. But I used, because I couldn't make myself sick, I tried numerous times. Thank God I couldn't. And I just took laxatives and then like completely messed up my digestion. Like I still, I believe it's not like it would be if I never did that to myself. And we can't change that, but it's sad. Not sad, because like as you heard me say on Saturday, like I've alchemized my pain into like power and passion to others. But we do have to live through that I believe, in order to truly help somebody else through the same thing.
Yeah, it's very true, because you have the experience with it. You've been through it. Like, you know the stages of it and how you were feeling and how they're feeling, how to connect with them. So
Yeah.
like, I don't want to say it sucks. It's hard that we have to go through these things, but it's also a great power, because you get to help someone else through it, and they get to help someone else, and it's like a ripple effect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
do you do body image work
Mm-hmm.
like throughout your healing journey?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I missed the first part of that.
Oh, did you do like body image work? Like, did you do any mirror work or any stuff around like accepting your body the way it was? Like, can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah. So now, like, I truly love my body. Definitely no more like thinspo and all that stuff. I just feel like the way I love the way I look, and working out is not to make me look a certain way, but more like feeling a certain way. I just like, I'm always doing body work, mirror work, just saying like, I love myself, I accept myself. I have a little sticker in my mirror that says "You are beautiful," just so I can see that every day. I recently got this like ice roller thing I put on my Instagram. It's just an ice roller for the mornings if your face is a little like, it just wakes you up basically.
On your face or anywhere?
I think more on your face. I guess you can put it anywhere, but I put it more on your face. Yeah. You're like, oh. And I just like use it in the morning, wakes me up, and I just say, I love myself, you're beautiful, like you're amazing. So just incorporating always like new things. But yeah, it's definitely the body image like work helps a lot, especially with my story specifically. But yeah, it's important because it encompasses everything, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe that the root cause of disordered eating is because of they're not happy with their bodies.
Yeah.
If we all loved ourselves, we were all born loving ourselves, right? You look at children like running around like naked, they never want to put any clothes on.
Yeah.
They don't look at themselves and be like, oh, mommy, I'm fat, until they learn that from us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we were born loving ourselves. So I believe it's quite simple, and I'm going to use the word easy, but it's only easy if you do the work every day. It's easy to get back to self-love because it's our natural state.
Yes. I was actually listening to a podcast yesterday, and they were saying like, when people say, oh, like my arm's fat, and it's like, you only think your arm is fat because you're comparing it to someone else. Like if there was no one else, you wouldn't be thinking that. And I was already walking, I actually stopped. I was like, no way. Like I never heard it in that context. I'm like, yeah, that is so true. If there's something you don't like about yourself, it's because you're comparing it to someone else and you're looking at the differences between the two. Because if there was no one else in the world, you wouldn't that wouldn't even be an option,
Oh my God, wow. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I've heard similar things, but putting it just as simple as that, it's literally like, yeah, that makes so much sense. Like if you was on a desert island and you didn't see anybody else, you wouldn't even have a body image, because your body would just be, it wouldn't even be a thing. It would just be, I'm me and I'm in a body, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so true. Yeah.
It is so true. And it's funny you mentioned arms, because I used to have a big thing about my arms, because I carry more, like the way I'm built, like I carry fat on my legs and my arms, and I'm totally cool with that now. Like I love that about me, but I used to have a massive hang up about my arms, and they always had to be covered, or like even when it was hot, and it was just, oh my God, exhausting. Like wondering what to wear because of how I felt about myself, not because of how warm it was outside.
Exactly. That's tough too, especially like when you want to like enjoy the weather, but you're also feeling self-conscious about yourself, and it's hard. It's definitely, as we were saying, like a process to go through. And now that you feel great about yourself, it's like, I don't have to hide my body. I love my body. I like appreciate my body and what it does for me.
Yeah, that's it. Like I don't wake up every day and think, oh my God, I'm just so hot. Like some days I'm like, I'm so hot. And then I'm like, do you know what? Like I'm not loving what I see, but I love myself and accept myself fully. And that's the key, because when I first started body image work, I thought, oh, I'm going to love myself as in physically love my appearance every day.
Yeah.
But that's not true, is it?
No, that's the thing. Even like when I'm journaling in the mornings, I'm like, hey, I love my body, but not just like what it looks like. Like I'm able to actually get up. I'm able to actually go to the bathroom by myself, shower by myself, like take a walk, enjoy nature. So it's like not just like what you physically see, but what it physically does for you. If you're able to like make a cup of coffee for yourself, there's so many things that like literally millions of people in the world can't do for themselves, you know? So just appreciating the little things, it really helps a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when I used to run on the treadmill,
Mm-hmm.
and for positive self-discipline. So when I was like, I mean, there's gyms are shut now, right, over here, so I run outside.
Mm-hmm.
But when I used to struggle and I used to like encourage myself from a positive place, I used to be like, come on, Vic, like, you know, some people would love to be able to run right now.
Yeah.
And then that spurs me on to like push myself from a place of, no, come on, we've got this together.
Yes.
Me and me, like there's not two of me, but you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Me, myself, and I.
Yeah, me, myself,
Yeah.
and I, like that Beyonce, like you are. You live by yourself, right?
I'm by myself, yes.
What do you experience any like old patterns that ever come up still, like in your life at the moment? And how, if so, how do you work through those?
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely, you know, like, yes, we're like on the other side, but sometimes like old patterns will creep up. So I don't know, like making, even like seeing something in the grocery store and be like, no, I shouldn't have that. And it's like, wait, what do you mean, Jessica, that you shouldn't have that? And then I kind of have to like take up the aisle and just think to myself, I'm like, what do I mean? Are these old patterns coming back? And it's just like, okay, if I realize like, no, like I don't want to actually have that, or is it, if I'm making a rule for myself, like I shouldn't, I'm like, no, take a step back, like think about like, if you really do want this item and then purchase it. And if you don't, then don't. So things like that. And yeah, with the exercising, not too much, just because, especially now that the gyms are closed, I'm like, that's kind of a good thing.
Yeah,
For
you've got
me,
no choice, you can't.
exactly. Like I do some online stuff and then like walking, but yeah, I think it's more of the food, you know, like that can definitely creep up sometimes. Like I shouldn't be having this, but it's like, no, you can have this. And it's like making sure the guilt part is not associated with it afterwards, because that's when, you know, the spiraling can happen. And also like, I don't know how you feel about intermittent fasting.
I'll share my opinion in a minute when you've shared yours, but I'm glad you brought that up. What's your opinion?
Okay. Okay, my opinion, I don't think it works for everyone, but I don't think it's a bad thing. That's the thing. I think you have to also really make sure like of your, what is your history basically with food, and making sure intermittent fasting doesn't turn into something that can like spiral you down the downward spiral, if that makes sense. Yeah, definitely not for everyone. I don't like purposely do it, but some mornings like this, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm having a coffee now. If I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat. I'm not gonna wait until like a certain time. So everyone does it differently. Some people, I don't think they should be doing it, but yeah, as for it, I don't even know where I was going with it. I think I just brought it up to bring it up. But yeah, as for intermittent fasting, it's just, there are a lot of things that like sometimes creep up and I'm like, oh, maybe because I haven't ate yet, maybe I will wait until noon. But I'm like, that never happens, because I'm always like, you know what? No, like I want to have something right now. I'm like, am I hungry? Yes. Okay. So I'm eating. So there's no like waiting, you know, just because like a certain rule says wait until this time. Like, no.
That's
And
it.
especially, no,
Sorry, go on, Jessica.
no, I was gonna say the same thing too, but in the evening, like after having dinner, I'm like, oh, do I want to have like some fruits or like some yogurt or something? I'm like, yeah, I do. So it's okay, not having to like starve yourself until the next morning because you are doing a certain, you know, diet. But yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I used to do that in my dieting days without knowing what intermittent fasting was. I think it was just called like don't eat for as long as possible. And then the funny thing was, even when I was healing my relationship with food, even when I was binging, even when I was all of the things, I never wanted breakfast because I'd conditioned my body since 9 years old when I started dieting to not have breakfast. So
yeah,
I naturally used to eat at around midday naturally. So it wasn't I mean, I guess it was so ingrained in me. Maybe it was like a diet response without me realizing it, but it was just, well, I just don't eat until noon. But now, and I've also read somewhere as well that intermittent fasting, there's lots of benefits for our cells, because our cells like get rid of, they recycle themselves basically. So I tried it again, like maybe like sometime last year, and it didn't serve me, because women's hormones are different to men, and we need to actually a lot sooner than men do. And I was just like, even if this puts like a year, if this extends my life for another year or 2 years, do I want to be like ignoring my growling tummy at like 10 in the morning? No, I'd rather die earlier and like just
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true.
So now I've got into the habit of actually having breakfast. I like to have a shake.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy, so it's like a liquid breakfast, but that's not a diet. That's because it's easy, it's quick, and I like to have that. So it depends on people's motivation for doing intermittent fasting. And I found that when I did do it, I would just eat loads more in the day anyway, because your body wants a certain amount of calories. I don't count calories, but your body wants that certain amount. So whether you allow, in quote, allow your body to have it at 8, 12 and 6, or whether you just have it between 12 and 8, I believe it doesn't make any difference. So whatever works for the individual, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I was also reading, like, your body wants a certain amount of calories per day. It doesn't know, like, oh, after 8 o'clock, like these calories go into the next day or something. Like, no, your body, it doesn't work like that, you know? So yeah, just think it's not for everyone, that's for sure.
That's it. Just coming back to self, and like, I don't know about you, but my fiance is amazing, but he hasn't experienced what we've been through, and he's extremely supportive. However, sometimes, and I've spoke to him about this, and a lot of it as well is my, whatever we think we reflect onto other people. Am I saying that right? Our perception is our projection. That's the right way of saying it. So even though I probably had a lot of inner stuff with this as well, he would used to like look at me when I was eating chocolate on like a Wednesday evening, for example, and I'll be like, he's judging the shit out of me right now. And then he wouldn't say anything. The way I'd be like, would you like some? And he'd be like, oh, no, thank you. As if he doesn't do that on a weekday. So those were triggers for me as I was going through my healing journey. Now he just doesn't say any, like he's literally like, I'm just not going to say anything. But that used to trigger me, because then it was like, okay, well, am I doing something wrong? Like, is it bad for my health? And it's like you said, talking to yourself, like, no, it's okay. Like, look at your history. I'm safe to eat chocolate on a bloody Wednesday evening if I want to, like, and just coming back to self. Nobody has been through the same journey that you've been through.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I feel like it's, well, females and males, people do this thing where it's like Monday through Friday, we're going to restrict, learn as much as we can, going to eat like a perfect diet. And then on the weekends, we're going to drink, we're going to have everything and anything we want. And then it's just like a repeat cycle, right? But rather than just, as you're saying, chocolate on a Wednesday evening, that's totally fine. Rather than like, there was this picture online where it's like Monday, it was just like healthy foods, Tuesday looked like healthy, and you could see the picture for like the weekend, it was like this long row of just like all these like foods. But it's like, why not like balance it out and make it eat like even throughout the whole week? So that's the thing too, especially I feel like if people in your life, they're meant to trigger you, like not especially in a bad way, but just like bring something out of you, like for you to learn for yourself, so especially that thing where like you have to think to yourself, is he judging me? And it's like, no, it's like, it's your thoughts, but maybe he was supposed to bring that thought out of you for you to think for yourself,
Exactly. And if I think that he's judging me, then it means I'm judging myself, else I wouldn't give a shit, right?
Yeah.
There's so many layers, and it makes me laugh. Like sometimes I got triggered a couple of weeks ago, some body image stuff, old stuff came up, and I was like, whoa. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've gone way back. And then I sat with myself and I was like, no, you haven't. I'll do some journaling. And then actually I kind of got excited for the growth through all of it. And then I've had breakthroughs and I've grown out of that. And now I'm even in a more better place to serve my clients more powerfully, because it was around health choices against allowance choices against, oh my God, am I dieting? Am I not? Like, and it was just sitting with myself and self-compassion, like ignoring what everyone else was saying. Like, of course, I respect my loved ones' advice, but that doesn't matter, because they haven't lived through anorexia. They haven't lived through an abusive relationship. They haven't lived through binge eating disorder. Like, what feels good for me and me only. And then when you've gone inward, you can then be like, okay, I'm going to share my truth. So absolutely, I love that, what you said. Like, everyone is there to trigger you on purpose in a nice way.
Yes.
Grow and to get to know yourself better.
Yeah. And that's the thing, as you were growing and like you were journaling and doing all that, now you can like show up for your clients in an even better way, you know? So it's like the triggers, maybe at that moment, they may not feel as good, but there's always greatness that will come from it if you actually do the work and allow it to come through.
That's it. I love
Yes.
that. And I have a question. I'm intrigued because I do both of these depending on the person, depending on the client. You know, when someone's at the start of their recovery journey, so they want to give up dieting, they're allowing all the foods. Are you the type of coach who recommends they go out and get all of their quote trigger foods in the house? Or are you the type of coach who says, if you want it, then go and get it?
I feel like it's more if they want it, they can get it, because I don't want to wait. The first one was to get it out of the house.
The first one was to get it, loads of it on purpose. So it's around you all the time.
I actually haven't used that method. I've heard of it, but like, I feel like it depends on the person, right? Because also some people having that around may cause more anxiety, just depending on the person. And other people, it's like, okay, maybe I want like 1 or 2 of my like trigger foods rather than having like 5 of them. So it's really like that person and what they can actually handle having around them. But yeah, I think everyone's different. Like, yeah, depends on the person's journey as well, you know?
That's it. The reason I brought that up is because a lot of coaches are against that, but it really helped me, again, me personally, because I needed to feel like safe. So if I could see like they was 5, I mean, Nutella used to be my thing. I used to get a jar of Nutella, put it in the microwave and literally drink it. That's what I do. Which is yummy, but I don't do that anymore. So I used to get on purpose like 5 jars. So even if my mindset was like, oh, let's go into binge mode, I physically couldn't drink 5 jars of Nutella. So on purpose, I would get the excess. And then the funny thing happened, like I would go into the jar and have like 1 spoon and be like, nah, I'm good, because I felt safe knowing that there's such an abundant amount of Nutella. I did it with all my foods. Like, honestly, my boyfriend was like, what? Why is there so much chocolate in the house? I was like, it's for my healing journey. Just leave it alone. Don't I had little bits each day, whereas I found at the beginning of my journey anyway, if I did go out and get it when I wanted it, I would eat the whole bar. Maybe yes, I always enjoyed it, but maybe if I'd had 5 bars, I would have had maybe a quarter of the bar. Do you see what I'm saying? That's how.
No, because now I see how, from your point of view, how it can make you feel safe rather than feeling anxious that you have everything around. You know, I guess it's like if someone really deals with anxiety, or they may not know how they can handle that, but feeling safe is definitely a good way to look at it too, because you're like, I have it here, like I have an abundance of it here, and you know what, I don't have to have all of it at one point.
That really helped. And some people think it is a crazy like something crazy to do, but then when I share, they're kind of like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But then it depends, exactly as you say, how anxious the person is, because if they're just like, oh my god, I can't deal, I need to eat 5 jars, almost like force feed themselves as well, everyone's different, which is beautiful.
It is beautiful. If we're all the same, everything will just be boring, you know. We're all here with like our different experiences to help each other in a different way.
Exactly. And I would love for you to share how women can work with you. Like, what do you offer? How can they find you? And then I've got one last question for you before we finish.
Okay, perfect. So I have my signature program called the Nourish Mind. And basically it's for women who are ready or want to heal the relationship with food. So I take a holistic approach. We go through, I call them the 4 M's. So mindset, movement, meals, and then me, myself, and I, just because I think everything is, thank you. It's everything. As we know, it's not just like the physical food itself. It's not just the action of eating. Everything comes into it. You know, the movement we've talked about, the mindset, me, myself, and I, that's more of like, you know, the self-compassion, the mirror work, gratitude, feeling like grateful. And then, what was the last one? Oh, meals. And then, just the meals, because there's some people that are having like, they love certain foods. Sometimes, like, as we were saying, doesn't make you feel the best, and not just like the food, but maybe you have like an intolerance to certain things. So just like going through that, I guess that's where more of my nutritionist parts comes in. But I love all the different modules, and then we go through that. It's an 8-week program. And yes, you can definitely send me a DM on Instagram and to chat further about it.
Yeah, I love that. That's a big point you brought up, meals, because nourishing ourselves is a form of self-care, isn't it? So
yes,
if you're only, and again, I speak from experience as usual, like if we're only eating chocolate, and I used to do this all day, every day at the start of my journey, it's not bad, it's not wrong, but it's not nourishing. So your body's going to be like, well, where's my like protein? Like, where's my fiber? Like, can you please feed me some nourishment? So I think that's really important that that's in there.
Yes, thank you.
I love that. And
you.
and as I mentioned on Instagram, just please say, I will have everything in the show notes, guys, anyway, but just if they want to follow you right now, what's your name on Instagram?
At foodcoachjess.
Foodcoachjess.
On Instagram, yes.
And I'll put her website under here as well, which is a really nice website.
Thank you.
My last question, Jess, is if you could give one tip around someone who's wanting to start this healing journey with themselves and food, what's the biggest tip you would give them, the most powerful tip?
The most powerful tip. I have a few in my head. I'm just trying to choose the one where it resonates the most.
Yeah.
I would say it's a journey for a reason, you know. So throughout the whole journey, you're going to go through some ups and downs. You're going to learn a lot about yourself, and some things from your past before your journey may even come up as well, just because when you're healing things, other things come in as well. But just know that at the end, you will make it through to the end, and you'll be able, you almost feel like a new person, and you'll look back and be like, wow, like this is what I've been through. This is where I am now. And you'll be able to take everything you learned and help other people, whether you know it or not. You're still going to be, you know, an inspiration for others, and it will be a ripple effect. Oh, yeah. That's my best tip. Yes.
I love that. Thank you so much. Honestly, Jessica, it has been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Victoria.
You're so welcome. And as I said, everyone, I'll put Jessica's contact detail below. So go and follow her. If you like this episode, screenshot it. What shall we have the hashtag, Jessica? Like, what shall they, on their stories, what should they put as the hashtag to tag us with?
Ooh, what are some ideas? Yeah, what do you usually...
Put you on the spot now, haven't I? Put myself on the spot. Something like hashtag food freedom, or, well, hashtag food freedom is a great one.
Food freedom's good. Yeah, it's a great one.
So screenshot us. Hello, hi. On the podcast, you won't physically see us, but if you're listening, go and check us out on YouTube. Hashtag food freedom and tag me and Jessica in there. And until next time, I will see you next week.
Perfect. Thank you, queens.